Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show. Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million households across North America. Today we're here in New Delhi, the capital of India, to meet a distinguished bureaucrat who's transformed into one of the most formidable politicians from the state of God's own country, Kerala. In this face-to-face interview, you're going to meet an IAS officer born and brought up in Kottayam, Kerala, who only secured 42% of marks in his high school. And you're going to learn how he topped the Indian civil service to be a topper of the IAS. There's more to it. Meet KJ Alphons, former Member of Parliament, former Union Minister for Tourism with the independent charge, and Minister of State for the Information and Technology, Government of India under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mr. Alphons has the unique distinction of being the first Christian minister in the Union Cabinet of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million households across North America. Today, our guest is none other than Alphons Joseph Kottayam, a distinguished bureaucrat who has turned politician. Welcome, sir, to our Dr. VGP Talk Show.
Thanks.
It's great having you on our talk show.
Thanks, Dr. Vijay. I watched a lot of your shows and then they're very impressive.
Thank you
Very
so much.
impressive.
It's coming from you. I feel very humbled.
Oh,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Chief.
Thank you.
Our guest, as you all know, KJ Alphons, was a distinguished bureaucrat hailing from Kerala, Kottayam. He was a topper of the 1979 batch of the Indian Administrative Service, India's topmost civil service. He is going to tell us his story, how he topped the IAS, even though he secured only 42% in his 10th grade or the 10th board. Mr. Alfonso's father was a school teacher. It's a success story which can inspire generations to come. Sir, could you tell us your early childhood and education and what brought you into the Indian Administrative Service when you only scored 42% in your 10th board? How did you manage it?
Vijay, when I scored 42% in my 10th board examinations, there was big celebrations in my house.
Really?
Today I see if a child scores 499 out of 500, the parents ask the child, where is that 1 mark gone? So imagine I get 42% big time celebration. You know why? Because the headmaster of the school had called my father when I was filling up the application form and he said, this kid is not going to get through. Let him repeat one more year. Maybe next year he can write the examination. And otherwise, it's going to bring bad name to the school. But I managed to smuggle in my application form and then I wrote the exams and the first miracle in my life happened. So it was a miracle. I passed. And
wonderful.
Yes. But then, after that, so I had a fantastic childhood in the sense that my father was a school teacher, but he was a soldier in the Second World War. He was in the British Army.
Wow.
For the Battle of Kottayam, and he survived. And after that, he came back and went to Pune, was an executive in many companies, and came back to Kerala and was a teacher because that was the only job available to educated people in the village those days. So we had a 5-acre farm in which we were 9 children. And
wow, that's a big family.
now, hold your tongue. My parents adopted 2 more from the orphanage and we became 11.
Wow.
So we had great fun. The river flew through our land. So we learned swimming, learned how to catch fish, and we had a great time as kids. And we had plenty of food in the house because we grew most of the food at home. The only thing we bought was rice. So I had this very nice childhood, and of course I was aimless, just like a lot of kids around. But after I got this 42%, the celebrations were over. I asked myself a question: why is everybody calling me an idiot? Then I decided on 2 things. I said, I'm not an idiot, I'm intelligent. I said, I never won a prize in school, never participated in a competition, but I said, I have talents. So I just decided on these 2 things. I said, it's not my teachers or my friends or my parents who are going to decide whether I'm intelligent or whether I have talent. I've decided. That was my moment of, let's say, reckoning, the huge transformation. So I went to college. I couldn't write 1 sentence in the English language because I studied.
Got to be kidding.
Yeah, so I studied in the Malayalam medium and English was one of the subjects, but of course we never spoke English, even a sentence, and I could not write even 1 sentence properly. So I went to college. I taught myself English through the dictionary. I learned 25 pages of the dictionary every day. And then of course I took tons of paper, made sentences with these words, and that's how you learn words. Then I started reading classics, then tried to imitate in my own way, whatever the classics were written. So I learned how to write. And eventually, when I learned a bit of English, I said, I want to become an orator. And I spoke to the wall for 6 months.
Wow.
Then I went to the first debate in the college. And of course, in a few minutes, all the 2,000 guys out there, they started howling. I didn't stop. Then they started throwing paper at me. I didn't stop. Then they started throwing books at me. I didn't stop. Eventually, they threw shoes at me. And by the time I finished, I had 250 shoes on the stage.
Wow.
But see, most people would have stopped. I said, no,
right.
I don't have the talent. I said, no, I want to be an orator. I went back to my room, practiced. Then after a long time, I came back to take part in a debate, and then the miracle happened. There were no shoes thrown at me. Of course, I didn't get a prize. After a long time, I got small little prizes, went up, became bigger and bigger, and eventually, you know what happened? I became the best national debater for 3 years.
Wow, best national debater.
Yes, for 3 years. So I am not somebody who gives up. From that moment when I decided I'm intelligent, I'm talented. So then I started doing well in college. I won a prize in almost everything. I was a member of the basketball team. I was in the university choir, debate competition, quiz competitions.
An all-rounder. You just heard Mr. KJ Alphons telling us that failure is just building blocks for success, perseverance and resilience. He had 250 shoes thrown at him when he first participated in a debate, and then 3 years later, he was the national top debater in the country. He was not only that, he was a basketball player. He sang for the university choir. His success story, when 42%, he learned English. How did he learn English? He self-taught him English. He only was brought up in Malayalam. He learned it by learning word by word in dictionary and then setting sentences up and reading novels. And he spoke to the wall for 6 months to become an orator. So today what you're telling us is so inspiring for those who are watching this Dr. VGP Talk Show to learn. Do not give up. And that's what this great gentleman who's sitting with us face to face telling all of you, million viewers, do not give up, perseverance, and try hard and you will succeed.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I mean, that's why my book is going to come out next month. It's called The Winning Formula, 52 Ideas to Change Your Life. So out of these are actually anecdotes, 3-4 pages, one idea per week. 13 anecdotes are from my life. How from a very, so-called miserable childhood, some people would say, but a happy childhood, where I was an idiot. From there, I kind of, let's say, conquered the world. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, and therefore the book is about trying to tell people, look here, you can do anything you want. You can do it better than what I have done, if you have a dream and if you're willing to work on that. Very simple. That's
if you can have a dream. You just heard from the words of one of India and the world's top outstanding leaders. If you have a dream, you can succeed and work on it. And how humbling it is to have such a distinguished gentleman with so much accolades. He was also featured on Time magazine on the cover in 1994 as one of the 100 young global leaders, along with, could you believe it or not, Mukesh Ambani. There were only 2 Indians featured in 1994 on the Time magazine's cover story as 100 young global leaders. Take a guess, who would the others be? Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and
Jeffrey Sachs.
Jeffrey Sachs. And here he's calling himself as an idiot while he was growing up in childhood. That speaks volumes, sir, of yourself. And you are able to relate to the reality of your growing up, and you're able to call yourself such a name, which I wouldn't even like to repeat it again on the show. Tell us some of the interesting experiences. In 1979, you joined the Indian Administrative Service. You topped the batch. You were the collector of Kottayam. You were born in Kottayam. It's very unusual for IAS officer to be placed in his birth district as a collector. Tell us some of the happening, interesting anecdotes during your career with the IAS.
Yeah, so after I got into service, of course, we are trained in the IAS Academy in Missouri for 2 years. And then, of course, I was posted as sub-collector of Munnar. That was my first job.
Munnar, oh, great.
See, fortunately, as sub-collector, you have a boss, the district collector. Okay. But fortunately, there was no telephone connection between the district headquarters and Munnar, Devigulam, where I was. So I learned to be completely independent. Completely, I became my own, let's say, decision boss. Nobody to dictate to me because the collector couldn't talk to me. There were no mobile phones, not even phones those days. So I learned to take decisions on my own. I worked extremely hard. I was newly married, but I was touring, halting outside in outstations for 4 days a week minimum. Coming back, I learned everything about administration, and of course we had the very famous tiff with Tamil Nadu on Mangala Devi temple thing, in which I threatened to arrest the famous Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, MGR.
MGR.
I mean, he was like a god.
Yes.
So
yes.
I threatened I will arrest him. He said he will come and take over the temple on Thekadi on the border. I threatened to arrest. I camped there, and he backed out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Did you just hear that? That's a historic piece of revelation Mr. Alphons is giving us. Go ahead, sir.
It's so I learned to take decisions, take daring decisions. I mean, some people would say it was stupid. Like when I took this decision, my collector sent the ADM, the Additional District Magistrate, and say, no, you go back. I said, sorry, you go back. It's my territory. I'm a magistrate, so you have no jurisdiction. I sent him back and took my own decisions. So from the first job, I was very clear. I was going to take a call myself, not depend on anybody else, but I would take a call and take a decision which was daring. Then, of course, I became managing director of Kerala Milk Federation with about 8,000 employees. We never had a strike in any of my units when I was an MD. Then I became district collector of Kottayam, which is very unusual because both me and my wife are from Kottayam, and generally you are never posted as district collector of your own home district, but I was posted there.
Tell us about your stint as you're known throughout the world, I should say, the Delhi Demolition Man.
Yeah.
As the chairman of the Delhi Development Authority. Tell us that.
Can I just finish a little more about district collector? So we went on to pioneer the literacy movement in India.
Wow.
In 1989 by making Kottayam the first 100% literate town in the country.
Wow.
So that became the model for the rest of the country. Oof. And we also pioneered a program called the Mass Conduct Program. I took my entire 2,000 officers of the district to the panchayat, to the village.
Great.
And all with preparation. We receive the petitions in advance, we examine them, and then we go to the village and we sort out every issue. Now, that eventually won the highest UN award for innovations in governance, the highest UN award. And that idea came from a lady, an 8-year-old lady. One comes to me one day and says, this is my third trip to see you as a collector. Where were you? And finally the punchline, government is giving you a car. Why can't you come and see me in my village? So that set me thinking. I said, why can't we, the district administration, go to the people and sort out their problems? Now, we built a cancer hospital in Kottayam Medical College, of which I was a chairman, with contribution from 8.2 million people.
Wow.
I think it's the institution built with the largest number of contributors anywhere in the world. And we were number one in family planning, in health indicators, and we were number one in the country. Now, if you look at the Niti Aayog rating of districts, Kottayam district is the only zero poverty district in the country.
Even
now. Only zero poverty.
From which year to which year you were the collector?
I was the district collector from 1988 to 1991, 3.5 years, in which I won the Best Collector Award for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I came to Delhi as commissioner. And now this is where I kind of became, let's say, famous. Otherwise, I would have been known only in Kerala. So when I came here, people looked at me and said, what is this Madrasi going to do? Because I was the first South Indian commissioner in the Delhi Development Authority. I said, okay, let me see. Then DDA owns about 125,000 acres of land in Delhi. And then when I made a survey of the land, which was encroached, I found more than 10% of the land was encroached, and mind you, and the top 10 encroachers were all politicians.
Wow.
And I said, I'm going to touch these people. I said, I'm going to take on them. And these are the big time politicians, is a politician criminal nexus that was happening. And the number one in the list was HKL Bhagat. And I said, he's my target. And my staff told me, sir, don't touch him, because in 1984, after Indira Gandhi's assassination, he had burned alive 5,006. He was a leader who led that entire movement of, that Holocaust of the Sikhs. So he said, don't touch him. I said, let's see. So we went, and that was the first building I demolished. You know what was the size of the building? 200,000 square feet.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. And I stood there on the road for 36 hours, me and my dog. I take my big dog with me. And the way we go is like this: 10,000 policemen with guns in the open truck. In front of that, 25 massive bulldozers. In front of that me with my Clint Eastwood Stetson hat and my gun and my 4 feet tall dog in the open jeep. So I do very dramatic things, you know.
Wow.
I like drama.
Yes.
So when we reached a model town, they thought Pakistan had invaded India. I said, relax, this is India. So over the next 36 hours, I reduced this 200,000 square feet to dust. And the next day in the newspapers, the demolition man comes to Delhi, me and my dog. So over the next 5 years, we demolished 14,310 illegal mansions in Delhi.
14,310
mansions in Delhi belonging to the mafia. I don't demolish slums, because where will the poor people go? Isn't it? And then of course...
Very well said.
And we are 36,000 employees working with me. My wife was beaten up and left for dead. She survives. My kids went to school under police protection. They were beaten up. I carried a gun for 8 years. Why?
You were in 8 years in Delhi.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, incredible.
So that was, to be alive, Dr. Vijay, is a miracle.
Sir, you're telling me that 14,310 mansions were demolished because they were illegally constructed on the Delhi's 125,000 acres. And you also spared the slums, because where will the slum dwellers go?
Exactly. Where will the poor go? Absolutely. So it was very exciting. And of course, I was on the television channels every day, newspaper every day, and I was out on the road every day. So this is where I think I'm a little different from other people. A lot of bureaucrats will order on the file, and they will send their employees to the road, on the ground for action, and they would stay back in the office. But I was on the ground every day.
Which year to which year was this?
This was 1992 to 1997. I was the commissioner. Then after that, I took leave for a year and I worked in the slums of Delhi along with my wife. So my wife had a project in the slums, running a hospital, a school, a tailoring center, and a toilet complex. In the biggest slum with 30,000 people.
Why did you do that? What drove you after such a courageous career? Why did you take a break for 1 year?
So after my wife got beaten up, she got this, intuition, or let's say the commitment that she needs to do more. So a lot of people, when they get beaten up, they retreat into a shell. But she said, no, I'm going out, and then let's see.
What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? I'm going to live my life, and let me see how much I can do more. So we went and started this huge project in the biggest slum in Delhi, where there was not even one toilet for 30,000 people. Not one child was going to school. And
this is simply incredible. This story has to be told.
Yeah. So from 97 middle to 98 middle, I went and worked in the slums of Delhi. I took leave. Oh, it was great fun. Such a learning.
So then after that, where were you posted?
After that, I became secretary to a minister, that is executive assistant to a minister.
Yes.
And then after that, I went back to Kerala in 2000, and I became transport commissioner. And I was on the road. See, Kerala has one of the largest incidents of accidents on the road, where lots of people die. It's got the highest incidents. So I was on the road, and I said again, no point sitting in my office and issuing directions. It won't solve the problem. I took my entire staff of 3,000 people and took the entire staff to a district, northern district, and we started examining every vehicle from 5 o'clock in the morning till midnight. Oh. Every vehicle. Did they have the necessary papers, insurance, driving licenses, pollution control certificates, if they were driving fast, or, And we find about, on the first day itself, we find about 3.5 million rupees to the people. And we came down next day, we went to the next district. By the time we finished our entire 14 districts, next week, the accident rate in Kerala came down by 60%.
Incredible. My God.
Yeah. And
it's
of course,
astonishing.
We even caught 3 ministers. So it's a question of we spared nobody. It was all over the media that if you break the law, whoever you are, you will be punished.
So you were a game changer and such a change maker as an IAS officer. Yeah. So what made you resign and stand for election as a member of the Legislative Assembly in Kerala? in 2006?
Yeah, so in 2006, I was 52 and I would have become chief secretary in a few years because I was a topper. Then I said, you live only once. And then I should really experience everything in one's life. And everybody says politics is dirty. And I said, we need to prove that politics is clean, because politics is the most important single factor, if you take it, in the history of a nation, in the life of a nation. Because if you have good politicians, it will be good administration, and that is the most important thing. So I said, so you can't say politics is dirty, you need to prove it's clean. So I quit when I was almost becoming chief secretary, and I contested as an independent from my home district, where I was a district collector.
That took a lot of guts and courage.
Yes.
You're giving up a thriving career.
Yeah.
You've proven in every post you made a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a ferocious lion as an IAS officer. And I think they wouldn't have seen an officer like you in their times. And even now today, I can't see any comparison to what you have done, how you have had level playing fields. For example, the transport, what you did, how you brought education, how you brought administration to the local levels. In Delhi, it was a phenomenal job. So giving that all up to be a politician, and you succeeded there again. So please go ahead.
So Dr. Vijay, you need to give up something to get something.
Very correct.
So a lot of IAS officers today are coming into politics after retirement. You had all the fun there. You had all the privileges there.
Correct.
And then you come to grab these political space. I don't really think that's correct. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's the choices of people. Right. But then I think it's very important to give up something, sacrifice something, to be something else. And I took that risk, and I became a member of Kerala legislative assembly, which in US parlance is called the state senator.
Yes.
On the 32nd day as an independent.
Wow, you won the election.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were the fourth largest victory?
I got the fourth largest majority, and then eventually I completely redefined what it used to be an M.L.A, a state senator. Because most state senators, M.L.As, what they do is attend marriages and funerals. I said, no, that's not my work. My job is to go and listen to the people in the village, and I'll bring you development. So I was out in the villages. I was the only M.L.A without a driver, and I would stay in a tiny little room the size of a toilet in the government guest house. Out in the early morning I would select one panchayat, one village, and I would take the panchayat president members in my car, in my SUV, and we would spend the whole day there, listen to people, and I asked them, what is it that you want? And in 4 years, I got 350 crores into my constituency.
Incredible.
It's not really that. And I made sure that every project was completed before time, like the civil station, which is the headquarters of the Taluk, of the M.L.A, 100,000 square feet. It was supposed to be completed in 4 years, given to a contractor. I sat with the engineers and the contractor, and we finished it in 1 year.
Wow.
Instead of 4 years. And we finished every bridge in 100 days.
You had a hands-on approach, which is never seen before by a legislator.
And I like to set targets which people say look impossible. And I don't have to shout at people, but they know I'm serious. Okay. Nobody fools around with me. We're at work. Nobody. See, I'm a fun person outside my work. I'm great fun. I go to a disco, I go to parties, I dance, but at work, I don't fool around. I don't let anybody fool around, even as a politician. I don't. So that was great fun, worked very hard. I used to sleep, maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. Then in 2011, I was renominated to be contest again I was supporting the left front. And so they renominated me to contest again on the 16th of March 2011. Then I had a press conference in the afternoon, and I said, I'm quitting the assembly. I'm resigning, and I'm joining Modi. I want
Bharatiya Janata Party.
Yes, I joined the Bharatiya Janata Party. I said, I'm joining because I want Mr. Narendra Modi to become Prime Minister, because he was doing a phenomenal job in Gujarat as Chief Minister. And I said, we need somebody like that in Delhi as Prime Minister, because nothing was happening in Delhi. I mean, Delhi was immersed in corruption. Nothing was happening. So I quit when the VGP'S voting share in Kerala was only 5.6%. That means I was making myself completely unelectable by joining the VGP. Exactly. But I took that risk. But in that election, the Communist front, left front, which I was supporting, they lost by 1 seat.
Wow.
And Pinarayi Vijayan, the present Chief Minister, was a party secretary, then told me, Alphons, don't leave because you are everybody's favorite. Take any cabinet portfolio you want, don't leave. I said, no, I'm not concerned about myself. I want food on every table in India. I want every child in India to go to school. And I want a job for everybody. And I said, the only person who I perceive can do it is actually Narendra Modi. So I said, I'm leaving. I came to Delhi, worked in the party for
You left me speechless, hearing one achievement after the other achievement. How you threw up a cabinet member position in the Kerala State Assembly because you wanted to see Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of India in 2011 and joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, who today indeed, all of you all are putting food on every table and you're getting jobs, you're industrializing the nation. Now, you are known, I've heard your speeches, Chief, in Parliament. You mesmerize your audience as well as in all the speeches. There's so much. Where did you get the penchant for delivering such target-oriented, and that too extempore, no notes, and you have facts and figures sprinkled throughout your mesmerizing speeches? And I would call it, like in your words, dramatic, but still forceful. And you bring to life the points. You hold the captive audience with real life examples and extempore, and you bring such vivid history.
Yeah, Vijay, I don't let any member of parliament sleep in the parliament. When I,
I'm sure.
So I hardly use the mic because I'm very loud.
Yes.
And I look at their eyes. So because I need to ensure that nobody gets distracted, I don't use any notepad, no prompter, nothing. So I generally speak on the economy and I make fairly long speeches. And each of my speech would have at least 25 numbers. And it's all in my head. And I do research myself the previous night about economy, everything, all the research I do myself. Then I write down these numbers and I have it all in my head. And I have to make sure these numbers are right because, you can't make a wrong you can't state a wrong figure on the economy because somebody will catch you. So I write loud, and I realize as I grew older, I hated mathematics when I was in college. I did economics and I had to do mathematics. I hated it. But now I realize I love numbers. I can memorize, write loud numbers just like that, and it's easy for me. And I'm very forceful because my speeches are absolutely extempore.
I've listened to them.
Absolutely extempore.
Several times.
And I come out with a logic. I'm not abusive. I take on the opposition very strongly, but I'm never abusive. I'm never personal. I make a very forceful statement on why government is working with figures. I think that's so important.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose you to be Union Minister for Tourism with independent charge. And I think you did some historic initiatives while you're the Minister of Tourism. I think the first Indian International Tourism Fair in the history of India was held while you were the Union Minister of Tourism.
No, tourism fairs used to be held earlier also. But what I did was, I said, I don't have so much money to throw around, but then I can go around, tell people why they should come to India. Two things. Why Indians should travel within India itself, which is a big segment, the domestic tourism itself, which is the biggest segment, and why Indians abroad should come to India,
right,
back to their roots, and why foreigners should come to India. So these were the three things. So I'm very vocal. What I did was I took into confidence the tourism industry. See, the tourism minister can only talk. The tourists have to be brought by the tourism industry.
Travel agents.
So I took them into confidence, and they keep telling me that
you had a travel mart, if I recall.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah, I mean, you attended one of those.
Yes,
I traveled across the US, called the travel industry. We had interactions with the media, and so in 2019, that was a year in which India came to the third rank in terms of global revenue from tourism. Wow. We had a revenue of $234 billion,
wow.
$1 billion.
Wow.
$234 billion.
Wow.
Employing 81 million people.
Wow.
So we did it good. I mean, still we were not the largest, country with inbound tourism like Spain and France, and the US, of course, has got much larger numbers. But in terms of total revenue, if you take foreign tourists coming in, domestic tourism coming in, everything together, we are
third rank
in the world.
When you were the tourism minister.
So I I told my tourism people, look here, I'm your friend, I'm your voice. You tell me what to do, and that's what we do. We made 5 promotional films on yoga, Ayurveda, Indian food, Indian clothes and fashion. All the 5 60-second, these are all 60-second movies which played all around the world in all the biggest television channels. All of them got the highest award globally. All the 5 of them.
Oh, very creative.
And Vijay, how we did was, the 60-second promotional ad, I would take 15 hours to finalize that.
Wow, for each one?
Each one.
Wow, personalized.
Yeah, personalized. Right from the way it was conceptualized to every script, every word, every comma, to every frame. I would sit with them. We would hire the best creative guys, but I would tell them, sorry, needs a reshoot. It doesn't connect. So we went back. So I like perfection. See, it's something which I picked up, right after my school, saying that whatever you do, it has to be exceptional. It has to be. You can't really, I don't even like to get a comma wrong in anything I do, because, somehow I'm obsessed with perfection. So we had these ads, and which did fantastic, and so we were up there. But unfortunately, then the COVID came, entire global tourism collapsed, and then it is slowly picking up, but we are nowhere near where we were in 2019.
You led the tourism industry in India.
But I would say, you see, Prime Minister Modi, he was the biggest ambassador for India's tourism.
Inspiration.
Because he is a big draw abroad, and he was able to talk about India being, the renaissance in India, the roots of India, the great civilization we are. So, frankly speaking, it's Prime Minister Modi who was the biggest ambassador for.
Yes. Yeah. In 2019, when he visited Houston and spoke to the Indian diaspora, he asked each NRI or diaspora to bring one tourist to India.
Exactly.
That was his biggest ask of the Indian diaspora. You had made India the 3rd rank in the whole world, with bringing in revenue of $234 billion, and 81 million people were employed by the tourism industry. And you have been, rightly said, a perfectionist, how you made those 5 60-second ad spots in the 5 segments. You took 15 hours to personalize and to make sure hands-on how they could be affected and the most widely viewed. And now in 2022...
And now again, Vijay, let me tell you, as minister, I told my secretary and my officers in the ministry, it's your kingdom. I'm here, I'm not interested in, petty things, financial things, that you look after. I'm here for creative things. You are my full support. Let's do creative things. So I had a fantastic relationship with my secretary and with the officers in my ministry. I think, that's how the minister and the bureaucracy can work together and do miracles. Absolutely.
You wrote a very interesting book, Mr. Alfonso, about Narendra Modi accelerating India's 7 years of the Modi government. And you were the first Christian minister in Prime Minister Modi's cabinet. And still today, and that time in 2019 and during the COVID time, the Americans and lots of the Western media were talking about minorities being persecuted under Prime Minister Modi's government. What's your take on it? And I know, for one, it's the furthest from the truth.
No, I think all this is absolute lie. The minorities in India are absolutely free to do what they want. But we are very clear. You are an Indian, and we accept all of you as Indians, any community. Like Christianity has 2,000 years of root here. Like I'm descendant, I'm a Syrian Christian. We are descendants of the first St. Thomas who came to India in 52. So we are absolutely an Indian church. Similarly, the first Muslim mosque outside Mecca was built in Kerala.
Oh.
Exactly. Okay. And therefore, even Islam is here for a long time. So Prime Minister is very clear. This country is for everybody. We need to work together. So let's do that. So he's very, very clear. And I was very happy to be, a minister. But then I never kind of say I'm a Christian, so I need a position. No, I consider myself to be an absolute Indian on my own merit to be there. So, but he makes sure that everybody is taken care of. But again, We don't allow nonsense.
You know, you had left your footprints in the sands of time in Kerala, and I think the BGP today did very well in Kerala, and a lot of effort was during your time as minister in 2017 till you served the Rajya Sabha term out till 2022, that you had really nurtured the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state of Kerala. Today we got even an M.L.A. seat, Suresh Gopi, MP seat, yeah. Suresh Gopi. So I was also remembering the times we used to come to New Delhi in 2019. Ashoka Hotel were full of Malayalis, and we were wondering why so many Malayalis. And they were all talking in Malayalam, saying we're going to see Alfonso Tourism Minister, and that has never happened in any South Indian cabinet minister. You were able to relate to the grassroots of people. They were coming to Delhi and you redressing their grievances, and that was a very positive impact which left.
So Vijay, you see, I believe as a minister and even as an IAS officer, I said, I'm here because destiny has chosen me, God has chosen me, people have chosen me. I have no right to feel bigger than the smallest citizen in the country, the smallest. So from the time I became first job, I would meet everybody, no appointment. You walk into my room, I will listen to you, I'll make sure your problem is sorted out. I'll make sure. It's not that I just take your paper, scribble something and put it down there. No, I will make sure your work is done or you come back to me. So I put in place a mechanism. It's in my first book, Making a Difference. My autobiography was published in 1996 by Penguin. I detailed out how I did it. I would see 300 to 500 people a day. I was still able to make sure every one of those people's grievance was taken care of. I would take every call on my mobile, even when I was minister. It's very simple. My phone was not with my PM, not with my secretary. After every meeting, I would keep 10 minutes apart to return calls. And every message in my phone was seen, acted upon, and I would call up and say, this work is done. It's just not, yeah. Therefore, I think bureaucrats, because you see, take the IAS, out of 1.5 million people write the exam, 100 people get selected, 180 people. If we are not going to be accessible to people, who is going to be accessible? If a politician who people have selected, elected, chosen, and if you are not accessible, if you are not going to be doing the work, then what is the justification for me being there or any bureaucrat or politician being there? So I'm very clear on this.
You had the creative and visionary mind in 2011 when nobody thought Narendra Modi would be the Prime Minister. You resigned your M.L.A. seat and refused a cabinet minister position in the state of Kerala to join Narendra Modi, join the Bharatiya Janata Party to make Narendra Modi the Prime Minister. In 2014, he did become. Today, he's a global icon, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he's growing. Recently, the Haryana elections was a clear testament to the follow-up of the Lok Sabha election, where he won the Prime Ministership for the third time. Mr. Alfonso, if you can take 3 people from the past to the present out for dinner, who would those 3 people be? They could be your mentors or people who you are inspired by. So our viewers will get to know what.
See, Vijay, you would be surprised. My wife takes out, we have 2 maids and their families, and then she takes them out, and every month they have a day out with the children, the maids and the children, and the maids of the servants in some of the MP's quarters. She goes out with them, goes to the best restaurant, has a whole day with them.
Wow.
So if you ask me with whom
what's your mother's wife's name?
Sheila.
So she was just now going out at 5:30 to feed the stray dogs in Delhi.
Yeah, we have adopted 6 stray dogs, so we have a house with them. I just had to vacate them recently. Otherwise, I had taken a 3-bedroom flat only for them.
Wow, only for the dogs.
I had to vacate, so I put them in a hostel where I had to pay quite a bit of money. Then we have, at home we still have dogs and cats here in this flat. She also feeds monkeys because monkeys here are starving. So she buys about 25 kilos of fruits every evening. She makes 100 chapatis.
No kidding.
Yes. She feeds them right in the kitchen window. They come, and then the terrace, and then she goes out on the road and the park, and then she gives them. Am I a rich man? No, I'm not. But then, point is, see, this is India's philosophy, Vasudeva Kudumagam, that we are all one. That creation is one. It's just not human beings alone. I think everything in the universe is one. So we need to take care. I think today man has become the cruelest creature on the face of the earth. He's become so selfish. I think we just need to go back and say, we are just a speck, a dust in this universe. So why are we so arrogant, so proud? And therefore, your question,
yes,
whom will I take to dinner? See, in my new book, which is coming,
yes,
which is the winning formula,
52 ideas to change
the world. One chapter is about the sewage cleaner of my colony, North Avenue, Devendra. So if I have to take him out, so there are out of these 52 stories, 13 are my own anecdotes from my life, and 13 are from the life of ordinary people who done extraordinary jobs. I'll tell you just one story if you have the time. This police constable in Kerala, lady police constable, he gets a call saying there are some children abandoned on the street. So she goes, picks them up, brings them to the police station. They are 6 years, 3 years, and 3 months. And then when they are in the police station, little later, the kids start screaming, they are hungry. So she feeds the 6-year-old and 3-year-old, but the 3-month-old wouldn't eat anything. She's actually a lactating mother, a breastfeeding mother herself. So she just unbuttons and she feeds this kid. Look at this. No caste, no creed, no religion, no xenophobia. Get me? Isn't it a great act? If I have to take somebody out in Kerala for dinner, it won't be the chief minister or the governor. It would be this police constable whom I will take out. Get me? It will be Devendra, my drainage cleaner, if I have to take out.
Wow.
Because these are the great people in my scheme of things.
You just heard Mr. Alfonso say the 3 people who would like to take out for dinner would be the police constable in Kerala who helps people without caste, creed or favor, would be Dharmendra, sewage cleaner in North Avenue in Delhi.
One more person. There's a police officer in Kerala called Vijay, and he's additional director general of police. You know, he failed in class 10. He was working as a construction worker. He passed the rest of the school as a private student, college as a private student, looking after his parents, and then he got into the Indian Police Service.
Wow.
And then he's today the additional director general of police in Kerala, and he's done a fantastic job. So a third person would be him.
Sir, it was an incredible, enlightening interview. Your 30 minutes in Dr. VGP Talk Show, you mesmerized me. For the first time, I fell short of words. I was just gasping, utterly astonished by this incredible interview. In 3 words, how would you describe yourself? 3 adjectives.
Well, I'm done all these and I keep writing books and I've spoken to 2 million people just to tell them that whatever I have done, you can do it better. So that's me. I'm nothing great. I just dream big.
So dream big would be one adjective.
I plan things out once.
Planner.
How to realize those dreams, and I work extremely hard.
So 3 words to describe this incredible gentleman who you just heard. Every word was something for us to take back and for generations to come. 1, he's a dreamer. He's a planner. And a hard worker. A dreamer, planner, and hard worker is the incredible KJ Alphons who was with us today. What's your parting message to our viewers?
Be happy and make the world happier.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alfonso.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful time. And you mesmerized us and you gave us hard facts of life for us to take home. And I'm sure each one of us have got something to learn from you. And your journey has just begun.
Well,
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has chosen the right person for you to be in the Bharatiya Janata Party. You have shown what you can do, what you're doing, and what is yet to come to make India on the top of the global map. Thank you so much.
Dr. Vijay. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.